Good morning, campers! How are y'all doing today? I hope that you, like myself, are having a fun and enjoyable Monday morning. Monday afternoon, sorry. How's everyone doing today? Paint Liquor, I see ya. Songer, T. Schmidt, what's up? How are you guys doing? It is going to be a couple of new things today. Well, I say new, it's not really new. You know me. It's going to be a solo stream today. Jason is out working on some move prep because he is moving this week, so he's going to be kind of busy with that. So you're going to have my smiley face on here today and probably tomorrow as well. Jason sent you to cyberbully me. The Wild Child, welcome to the stream. I hope you have a great time. We are going to be painting some Star Wars Shatterpoint today. Managed to pick up some sweet models over the weekend. Count Dooku is one of my all-time faves. I really enjoy this model. Super duper cool.
Throw back my legs and pollute my britches
T.
with
Schmidt,
delight.
50 months. Oh my goodness, you've been here too long, sir. Actually, that not too long. That is a lot of months, though. How's it going, Source? Miniature Monster Painter, how's it going? Jim Tack,
Huzzah,
Brewig,
huzzah. I'll just throw
Paint
back
Liquor,
my legs and
51
pollute
months.
my britches with delight.
Ooh, oh wait. No, Paint Liquor, that's 13 months, not 51. You trying to cheat or something? Alright, I gotta get this primer going so we can actually paint a cool model instead of looking at a cool model. Oh yeah, 100%. My first list is probably going to be like Dooku and Asajj Ventress. Is my plan. Move these out of the way so I don't get primer on them. It's a glitch. But welcome to the stream, you guys. Happy Monday to you all. I hope you guys are having as much of an enjoyable Monday as I am. Been pretty chill Monday so far. Cannot complain. Where on earth is the black primer? Jason, what have you done with it? Oh, put it right there. Alright. We got black primer, everyone. The world is not ending. I do need... I don't want to get primer on my hands. It is a pain in the butt. Wild Child, yeah, that's okay. I have weird feelings about Star Wars myself. In general, I'm not a huge fan of the movies, but I think there's a lot of really cool things in the in the universe that I think are really cool. And it's because of those things that I find a lot of interest in models like this. Also, it's just a great miniature. I'm gonna be honest, Songer, this guy went together super fast with hardly any mold lines. Yeah, Brulig, I am right on the money. I feel exactly the same way. Yeah, well, it's funny. I went and watched Rogue One after I finished Andor and was kind of underwhelmed by the movie because Andor was so good. I think Andor is like probably some of the best Star Wars media aside from Mandalorian that they've done. And I enjoy Mandalorian a lot. But I think Andor just spoke to me as and my personal interest in television and media and that sort of stuff. Way more than Mandalorian did. First time chat, Mike Montalongo. Heard a lot of people complaining about the lightsaber thickness. It is a little bit thinner. I think the problem isn't necessarily that they're super thin compared to like the Star Wars Legion ones. They're very long. Like typically the Star Wars Legion ones stop right around here. Let me see if I can get this. The Star Wars Legion ones would normally be about this long. It's definitely the most fragile part of the model for sure. But you just got to keep them safe. But the new minis are absolutely incredible. And for scale, these guys are big. These are really, really large models. This is the Baron Strucker that we were painting the other day. And Dooku's not like a large guy. So, I mean, these definitely a lot better true scale, a lot larger. I like them a lot. The scale of these miniatures is really nice. Some big Dookie? Heck yeah. He is one of my favorite Star Wars characters as well. I really like the fact that he's like a... He's not necessarily just strictly a bad guy. I mean, he is a bad guy. Who am I lying to over here? But he's a more complicated bad guy. He disagrees with a lot of the things that the Jedi Temple are all about. Instead of just being like, I'm a Sith because I hate Jedi for no reason. Or just because I do or I can. What is up with this airbrush? Mike, is that really his origin story? I didn't know that. That's actually really cool. I mean, it's a bummer for him. But it makes for a really interesting background for his character. See, this is the thing that, you know, is so frustrating to me about the Star Wars universe, right? Is that there's a lot of really cool tidbits in a lot of other parts of the story that are not these main movies, where you hear about like the backstory of, you know, Count Dooku and how his dad abandoned him or whatever, right? Or thought he was, you know, you're a Jedi or Force sensitive or whatever. And like that kind of stuff is really interesting, and it makes you look at the characters in different ways. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna air dry this a little bit, speed up the process. Make sure I got all the nooks and crannies. Put on his cape real quick. We should be good there. Now let me clean out this airbrush and we can get started on painting this guy. Oh wow, that's a bummer. Qui-Gon Jinn's death really messed him up. Yeah, because Qui-Gon Jinn was his Padawan, right? Or were they just friends? I don't really remember. You know, Songer, I'm not 100% sure yet. I think I'm just gonna kind of organically figure out what I'm feeling with this model. I've painted a couple of a couple of the Legion iterations of this model, which I really enjoyed doing. And we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna see. There's a lot of cool directions that we can take for him. A nice good clean on this airbrush really fast. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Paint Liquor, I know you were playing a bunch of D4 this weekend. How was that? Yeah, Mike, it's so interesting, all the backstory to stuff that just makes, you know, makes the rest of these characters so much more interesting. I went pretty ham, man. Let's see here. I got my druid up to level 59, I want to say. I'm almost level 60. I want to say I'm like halfway, 3/4 of the way to level 60. And I've been having a blast. It's awesome. Very, very, very fun game so far. They made a lot of really good choices, I think, and I'm excited to keep playing it. All right, we have clean airbrush, everyone. Clean airbrush, which means we get to just paint. All right, so I think we're gonna start with his pants and his boots and his shirt. Mike, we were both playing. I mean, we weren't playing together, but we were playing separately. Diablo 4 this weekend. I've been playing some crazy trample landslide druid that's been doing real awesome, cool things for me. But my damage is starting to fall off getting into level 60, so I need to readdress my build when I get home. So that'll be fun. I am excited. Has anybody else been playing some Diablo, or is it just me and Paint Liquor? You just downloaded it? Nice. It's definitely very different from D2. There are some aspects of it that you will find familiar. I would say if you have played a lot of D3, it'll feel very, very similar. But it's a lot of fun. Been playing a bit with your son. Awesome. How's your son enjoying it? Thank you for the follow, PBS Charles. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good Monday. Finishing the night shift in an hour. Going to jump in on it. Nice. Oh, nice. You're trying the hardcore version of Vanilla Sun's Ride? That's right. It's kind of hard to see. Nice. That's awesome. My buddies were playing hardcore Vanilla for a while. They were having a blast with it. That is too much for me. I'm not big on the on that sort of mindset of game, unfortunately. Let's see here. So we've got some. Let's do some neutral gray with a little bit of Haynes gray for the jacket. All right. let's do this. All right, so we're gonna start with the. We're gonna start with his jacket here, and his sleeves here, and then his boots, and then we're gonna work on his pants, his cape, his face, and hands. I think is the plan. Let's see if we can't get him done in a couple hours. We're starting with some Payne's Gray. One of my new favorite colors for working up from a black base coat and painting black cloth. I'm a really, really big fan of it so far. We're going to use some of this. We're trying to just follow the areas where the light would hit on his clothing. And it looks like this jacket also comes up here. We're going to hit this with some of that Payne's Gray as well. And a lot of this I'm going to leave being just black, by the way. There's a good amount of this I'm just going to leave because we want to keep it looking like a black piece of clothing. Same with the boots. Which hit those areas where there's going to be a nice little bit of reflection because these boots are going to be shiny. And then I'm going to hit this backside here where the boots are. We're going to hit back into here. Boom. And around the edge of the shoe there, which is a nice point of reflection. A little bit on the heel. I'm going to hit this hip over here a little bit, this flare out, where it's tucked into his belt. Hit the open side of that. Okay. I'm going to get another highlight on this, but I'm concerned that it might be a little too blue. Did I grab the right paint? Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's see here. Let me catch up on what you guys are talking about. He doesn't seem to think it's much different than D3. He's mentally challenged, so it's hard to gauge. Okay, fair enough. He seems to be quickly bored with it. Source, how far have you guys gotten? Because I've definitely noticed that once you kind of hit level 50 and you go up from there, there's a lot more diversity and complication that gets added to the game. As you have to start kind of working on your build. Let me wipe down my monitor a little bit so I can actually read. Because I cannot read half of what you guys are saying. A little bit of maintenance. Hold on, you guys. Might have to switch off of the black background on Twitch because it is really hard to see some of your guys' names on here when you're typing. Here we go. Vanessa Miniatures, how's it going? Your name is purple on a black background, so it's almost impossible to read. Jake the Baron, I will have a shipment from Monument Hobbies waiting on me when I get home. Awesome. Payne's Gray is a fantastic color. I agree. You recommend not using a wet palette for your pro acryls? I feel like they thin out too quickly on my palette. I use a palette all the time, Source. Every day. In fact, you can see the corner of my palette right here. I'm using a wet palette right now. The key is to not oversaturate the palette. If you oversaturate the palette, it's gonna really give you some weird. It's gonna thin out your paints too much.
Well, huzzah, huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs.
Lion Creative, thank you for the
and pollute my
prime.
britches with delight.
Welcome back for the next month. More like a damp palette. Yeah, that's right, Songer. I run my palette like a swamp. So the trick with Pro Acryl is just to see the small dot of paint. Yeah, you want to keep your paint in puddles as much as you can. You don't want to spread them out too thin. As you can see, this stuff over here has already started to dry. Now, granted, we're in Arizona, so it's going to be something that's going to happen a lot easier to you than it would other places, but definitely food for thought. How's it going, Lion Creative? Hope you had a good weekend. Welcome to Monday. Let's see here. Where do we want to go from here? Let's grab some neutral gray. We're gonna get some black really quick. Feel some. Alright, I'm borrowing some coal black. I need to get a replacement bottle. Are you using acrylic medium to thin down Pro Acryl to run through an airbrush? No. Typically, Mike, we do not. The fluidity of Pro Acryl paints right out of the bottle are perfectly suitable for painting through an airbrush. All you have to do is drop a couple of drops into your airbrush and spray, and you're good to go. I am, however, going to put some glaze and wash medium on my palette. We're going to switch to this brush. We're going to do some more detail work. I'm going to zoom in a bit more here so we can see what I'm working on. All right. All right, so we're going to work in thin layers and we're going to build this up. Starting on the chest. And you can see with my brush strokes that I'm pushing the paint up into the highlight areas where I want the light to be. And I'm just trying to follow all of the creases in the jacket and on the arms. This waist really quick where these creases kind of come together. Sorry, trying to keep it on stream for you guys. A little bit of a highlight color here with just the neutral gray and a little bit of glaze and wash medium and water. For some reason audio cuts out for me after like a second word of each sentence you say. Lion, is that just you? Chat, can you confirm if the audio is working okay for me today? I just want to make sure that that's a localized problem and not something I need to fix on the stream. Audio's good here? Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. We're going to blend this back out a little bit before it completely dries. This is a technique that I use quite frequently when I'm painting stuff. Is I'll lay down a little bit of color, and then quickly before it dries, I'll go back in and with a damp brush and I'll blend that color back out. Well, let me turn that that thing off here when I get a second. I'm gonna hit the collar real quick. A little bit of light. Doing good. Nice. Just hitting all the edges of these folds. Nice. I like how that's looking on the chest so far. Make sure I get up onto the shoulder and we get that nice crisp line across. I'm gonna follow that across over to here. Same thing over here. Follow this line down. Fold comes in. All right, let me turn that off real quick for you guys. Hiya. We're not going to need the airbrush anymore today. You're past that point. Are the primer colors the same foundation formulation as the corresponding smaller bottles? If I paint with a primer black and coal black, will there appear to be a difference? No. This is coal black over black base coat right here. There should not be a discernible difference or much of one. There might be a little bit of difference in the finish because of how the primer applies, because it is a different formulation, but the color should be very similar. We'll let that dry in a second and we'll show you. Getting some glazed medium delivered soon. Yeah, it is awesome. Snapcast, it is literally probably my favorite tool in the paints that we have. It is really an incredible tool to have. All right, we're gonna thin out some of this kind of shadowy highlight mix. Then we're gonna go back here. Ooh, that's too much on my brush. We're gonna blend this back out down here. We're gonna do some of those brighter gray highlights here on the paint or the boots. And remember, so for these boots, they're going to be shiny, so we want to have that like really strong, almost metallic reflection feeling. Which we'll go back and glaze over a little bit later to tone down, but we want to get that shine in there right now. Xenophonetic, how's it going? Games played poorly, how's it going? Vorin, how's it going? Sunride. T-Cat, what's up? Let's see here. Tim, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. We are painting Count Dooku from Star Wars Shatterpoint. His model is great. Really enjoying it so far. On your way to Massachusetts. Right on. Let's see. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight here. Ever so subtly. Remember, we're always using the brush to push that highlight color up to where we want it to sit. There we go. It's looking nice. I'm going to hit a little bit in here too. And we're going to get a little bit of this on this fold coming down. And then there's an edge on the outside of his suit right here, which I want to define. Let me back on here. Okay. That's a bit to the. That's kind of how high we want to bring the. Ooh, the jack. Oh my goodness. He fell right off the base. I have to glue this man back on. Hold on. Where is the super glue? It's right in front of my face. What's a Shatterpoint? The mysterious monster of old. See if we can't get this back on here. In just the right spot. Stay on there, you goober. Yeah, Count Dooku's got a habit of escaping. He does indeed. Add a touch more of an opacity here on the very bright parts of this jacket. We're gonna need to mix. What's a Shatterpoint? I'm gonna be honest, that I don't understand the name. It's what they decided to go with. I'm not familiar with why they would choose that specifically for the name, but that is the name we have received. So we're gonna go with it. I think a lot of us, when we looked at it, we were kind of like, that's kind of an odd name too. Shard, how's it going? Dooku! Yeah, someone smeared Dooku all over my Twitch stream. Yep, that's my fault. You guys can blame me for that one. I'm sorry, not sorry. Alright, just kind of going over here with like a thin glaze of this shadow color. Remember, we just want to make sure that this looks black. We're gonna. Oh yeah, that's did a great job of smoothing that out. Awesome. And we're gonna get this. Out. Hit the top of this arm right here. Highlight. Top of this arm. We're gonna hit the divots with that highlight color as well. Bring it across the line. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of a shadow version of this, the underside of the arm right here, to add a little bit of life to that dimension right there. Shape. So we're gonna push a little bit more highlight here on the center part of the leg where it juts out from the model. Feel like it needs a little bit more brightness. So we're just gonna push it in there real quick. Looking pretty good. Let's see here. Lots of chats to talk about here. What's up, nerds? Shard, what's up? Shatterpoint is a Clone Wars novel from 2003 about a reoccurring war between the two factions. Oh, cool. I didn't know that, Mike. That's actually really cool. Narfit, I printed the doku from Star Wars Patreon. Got about a third of the way through and decided I needed to learn OSL. Yeah, I'm not going to put a ton of OSL on these models. I actually really like kind of understated OSL when it comes to Star Wars stuff. I think it just looks cleaner, which is funny because Star Wars is like inherently kind of beat up and junky, although not so much in this stage of the story. Because if I could play it just with a Gungan squad with Jar Jar painted like a Sith, Shard, I'm pretty sure you can do that. I think they have actually shown off Gungan models. Really want to know how you paint the lightsaber? Maybe we can hit the lightsaber tonight. Or today, rather, before we end stream. Yeah, sold. Yeah, I can't remember if they showed it for Legion or if they showed it for Shatterpoint, but I believe there are Gungan models coming for something. Mike, you're learning a bunch from watching this. Please feel free to ask questions, all of you guys. I'm here to help you guys learn as much as I'm here to enjoy painting models. So if you guys have any questions about the techniques that I'm doing, either clarifying things that I don't mention, or if you want to see me kind of do something a little bit more specific, please feel free to ask. I am happy to help you guys out. Now let's hit the back of this arm really quick. We're going to need a darker color for it. Shatterpoint does not use Legion models. Shatterpoint has significantly larger models than Legion does. I would say that Legion models are smaller in general than most of the MCP models, and this guy is just straight up larger than, like, here's Pyro right next to Dooku. You can see how much bigger he is. He's huge. Actually gigantic. How do you know if your paint is thin enough? That is kind of a tough question to answer specifically without being able to, like, show you physically. But for these layers, I like to be somewhere in the realm of... Here, I'll show you. Let me mix up the color that I'm using here. Like on my thumb, I would say... No, I'm not going to say milk consistency. I'm going to show you the consistency that I'm looking for. Let's see here. We're going to hit this. Ooh, that's kind of right. It's really warm today. It's like 104 degrees outside, so I'm struggling a little bit to get the consistency to stay exactly where I want it to be. Because everything's drying so fast. But I would say, generally speaking, on my thumb, this. So it's like relatively opaque, but it's got a nice smooth consistency as I draw it down on the model. I also want to get enough working time so that I can actually blend it out if I need to. So I'm trying to blend out the side of this leg so that it's not quite as bright, because we don't want it to be as bright as the top highlights here. We want it to be a little darker. We still want that volume there, but we don't want it to be as bright as this. I think this color that we've just added is a great way to do that. Awesome. And you can see me, I'm just here trying to make sure that all these folds in the cloth show up when I'm painting. Because this has got some really, really great draped, or some really great folds to the cloth that I really want to show off here. Blend it up with this here. We're going to put it on the top of the shoulder here. Arm. Perfect. Looking nice. So, Matt, you got the magnet in backwards? Oh, man, that is one of the worst. I have done that before, and it is super lame. You need a blue-black. Does adding blue to coal black even do anything? Honestly, Source, you should just use Payne's Gray. It's the color that I used for the initial highlight for this. I've since moved into a lot more neutral gray. And we'll be going back to black here in a second as I'm darkening these layers up. Trying to bring back this feeling of a black suit. You can use blue-black too. Blue-black is a little too blue for me. Payne's Gray is this like really nice color. That's a good in-between. Alright. So mixed a nice little bit of glaze over here. And we're going to go in and we're going to just glaze down some of these mid areas that we want to keep a little bit darker. We're going to blend that down. Yeah, you don't have Paynes and you don't have blue-black. Yeah, you can just add a little bit of blue to your black. That would work fine. If you don't have those other colors. Just a little bit of extra mixing. Not the end of the world. Alright, so here is our glaze that we're using to tie everything together. So we're bringing those dark colors back in. Make it really read like black. I don't even know if this is like a suit or a jacket. Tunic. Tunic is probably a more accurate description of it, I imagine. Put a little bit underneath where his chin's at. Darken that up a touch. Hit the underside of this arm. Here, right hip here to tone that down. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to add a little bit of color into this as well. I think we're going to do some transparent mixes. We're going to do a little bit of transparent black and transparent purple. For these dark parts of the model. How's it going, Avian? Yeah, look at that, Xenofanatic, you already got it. We're using transparency here. Many of you know, by virtue of having seen me on stream before, I love painting with transparency. They are one of the most amazing tools that we have in our toolbox here in the Monument line. And I love them. Yeah, there are Ewoks in Shatterpoint. That is happening. That is a done deal. Okay. This is kind of the consistency that we have for our transparent here. Now I'm going to basically just put this in the crevices. Under the armpit, that sort of area, deep shadow. Now I'm going to blend this back out just a touch. Please wax poetic about transparency. Hey, look. They're super versatile, alright? Well, Mike, Jenny, if you hang out on stream, you will see all of the various ways that we use transparency in basically every project that we use. No secret that I really enjoy them. I find them to be a really excellent way to speed up your paint jobs. If you want to go a little bit quickly, I know this is not going to be one of those projects where I speed up, since we're trying to make these guys look really nice. But you can use them in all sorts of different applications, between glazing, color filtering, kind of the same thing, but you can do different applications of both. You can use them to paint color. You can use them to mix into other colors. You can do all sorts of stuff with them. You can see how soft these transitions are getting using these transparents. That's the whole idea, is you glaze them over other parts that you've painted and it smooths out everything that you've done underneath them. Get a nice little highlight color for the back side of this. Let's see here. Now, would I or could I use transparency with the glaze medium to thin it further? Absolutely, Avian. That's majority of the way that I use them. Yeah, no, glaze medium is the whole reason why I do that, because it keeps your body to the paint when you're painting with it. It doesn't thin it down too much. How's it going, Mose? Jason is working on packing his house right now. He is moving on Wednesday, so he and Jen are both in crunch time to get everything packed and ready to go for the movers. So he will be stepping out for today's stream, tomorrow's stream, and hopefully he'll be back on Wednesday, I think is the plan. But we're going to be all solo. I think they needed a little bit more time, Mose. I think they needed a little bit more time. I think their time this weekend just wasn't quite enough to get everything all ready. Yeah. Just got to get everything all ready to go. All right. Like that. We're looking good there. think I'll put a little bit of a highlight on this shirt, and then we'll probably be good. Let me find... Ooh, let me grab some dark ivory. I think would be a nice little color to add to this. We'll grab that. We're going to mix it with a little bit of the neutral gray to get our little bit brighter color. We're going to thin it out a bunch, add some glaze and wash medium to it. Thin it down, get it to a nice workable consistency. There we go. We got a nice consistency there. And then we're just going to poke this in a little bit here in the highlights. We're not going to go crazy with it. We just really want it for that last little bit of highlight, which really pushes that to look black. We're going to hit it on the shoulder as well. Just a touch. We're going to hit the collar with it.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my breeches with delight.
Boom. Get a little bit on this shoulder. Yeah, I like that a lot. Looking good. Punisher, welcome back. 33 months. How's it going? You've been out of town, right? This is your first day back? This is Lord Dooku. Well, more specifically, Count Dooku. I don't think he's gotten the title Lord yet. But he has since retained his title of Count. What do you guys want to see next? Should we do the cape? He's got a really cool cape. Kind of want to paint the cape. Let's do that. How are we going to paint the cape, though? Got to find the right colors for this. He's got a really, really interesting kind of khaki color on the inside, which I think we'll do with khaki and light umber. And maybe a touch of dark golden brown. Ooh, or maybe just golden brown. There we go. Okay, I like it. I like this. And we'll do the highlights in khaki. Where this is going. All right. Get my face coat and brush. Out of town for a day, but mostly vacationing around town. You missed the streams. Well, welcome back. Good to have you back. Definitely need some dark golden brown in this. Where did I put it? Ooh. Around here somewhere. It is around here somewhere. There it is. It's never far. Alright. So we're going to get this cape painted up in here. He's got a two-tone cape, so the inside of his cape is actually brighter than the outside of his cape, which is a little bit darker. So this is just a base coat. We're going to brighten this up a little bit with future highlights. At least we can get in here and throw this color in for now. Gotta be careful to not paint too much onto the model that we've already started painting. That was the one scary thing when you're painting cloaks, especially the inside of cloaks. Be really careful. But I think we're going to use this transparency of this base coat over the black to our benefit, so we don't have to do a ton of different coats on the inside, is the plan. And I'm sorry, this is probably terrible on camera for you guys. I just want to make sure that we get in here and don't miss anything up. Okay. Looking pretty good so far. We're liking that. Alright, so we're going to come back in and we're going to push like we did before.
I'll just throw back my legs and pollute
Layers
my
of
britches
highlight
with delight.
into the areas where those highlights would be the brightest. Get the edge of this. Let's see here. Cool Pack, thank you for the sub. 23 months. Almost to 2 years. Right on. Thank you for the sub. Good day, fine acrylite folks. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Cool Pack. Hope you had a great weekend. We are having a blast painting away on some Shatterpoint models right now. And by some, I mean one. Kind of hard to paint 2 models at a time. Jason is currently indisposed with packing. So it's just a solo day for me, which is fun. A little bit of change of pace. Flying Creative, I'm definitely struggling with this month's challenge a lot more than last month's. Really interesting. What are you struggling with specifically, Lion? And just in case you guys are wondering, if you're new to the stream or new to Monument Hobbies, the challenge that the Lion is talking about here is a monthly challenge that we operate on our Discord, which is full of a bunch of amazing painters and a bunch of really, really awesome community members who love to share their projects. And every month we run a community challenge where there's one particular prompt that you have to follow for the month. Maybe it's a limited color palette or a specific type of model that you need to paint. Although we try to avoid having it be stuff where you have to paint like a specific model, but it could be like fantasy model or something like that, right? And it's a really fun time where you can challenge yourself with new techniques or new styles of painting. Like in this month, for example, we're doing Grimdark month. There's no specifics on what paints you have to use. Obviously, we like to see everybody using the Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl stuff, because, you know, that's who we are. That's what we like to show everybody about. Sorry, I'm trying to paint up underneath stuff, Charles. Give me just a second. We'll get back to a little bit normal view. What makes Grimdark? Grimdark is very much so like lots of really, really dark environments, dark colors, very kind of grim, and yeah, it's like, if you think of like dark horror, that's kind of the vibe that you would be going for. So you're like darkest and depressing, like overcast, cloudy, stormy day type thing is a good example of like the environment that you would choose. If you look up like Grimdark 40K is a great example of some like good reference images for the style. You're not required to use 40K models. In fact, we encourage you guys to branch out, because largely Grimdark is something that you see a lot in the 40K universe, as far as like stylization is concerned. So we wanted to, you know, not necessarily incentivize, but we wanted to give you guys an excuse to try some new stuff. So we're going to our first highlights here. Yeah, Dark Souls, John Blanche, those are all really great examples of Grimdark style. Yeah, Bloodborne should be fine. I mean, it's a Souls game. So it should fit in the general style. And we're not going to be super picky, right? Like if you make it kind of depressing and dark and dreary, that's good enough for me. Right? You have followed the core tenet of what grimdark is supposed to be. So as long as you're shooting for that and executing on it, then you're good. Gloomy with pops of red. I keep wanting to clean everything up. Lion, that's definitely one of the things that I struggle with a lot with painting like that. Because I paint really bright and very clean. So it can be very difficult for me to paint like that as well. But that's part of the reason why we call them a challenge, right? It's not necessarily supposed to be an easy project for you. It's supposed to push your boundaries and your limits and make you grow as a painter. All right, let's get up in here. We're gonna hit some back. We're gonna dark again. Just kind of blending these darker colors in for the shadow. We don't want it to be too bright. We don't want it to be too dark, because we're going to be going over it with a darker color on the outside. So these shadowed areas we want to be a little bit more desaturated instead of just darker. That's kind of the trick with doing cloaks that are light on the inside and dark on the outside, is you want to be able to still keep that value, right? That brightness and that darkness from the inside of the cloak without making it look weird to the eye. I think we got a pretty good base coat in there of all the dark coverage. Maybe a little bit on the inside here. Patchy up here. You can see a little bit of overpaint on the inside there, so we're just going to clean that up really quick with a little black. So the coal black. See any of this? But if you can't, which you definitely can't, I'm sorry. Alright, so we're going to work on the outside of the cloak now. Gotta find the right color for this, though. Like a really earthy brown. Let's go mahogany and burnt sienna for the base coat. I think is a good starting point. Might need to add a little bit of golden brown to this to bring out a little bit of the yellow that's in it. Or maybe, ooh, some ochre. That's what we want. Wait a second, hold on. Dark flesh is a better version of this color. Where is it? Dark plum. Warm brown is exactly the color I'm trying to make right now. I'm a goober. Alright, here we go. This is the color I was looking for. Alright. Nice warm brown on there. This is really nice. You can see that kind of two-tone coming in right there. Had to pick up a second bottle of warm brown. That and jade are my obsession. Yeah, warm brown is an excellent color. It really, really, really is. It's such a nice cloak shape. Really, really nice. Throwing that base coat on there. Bringing it down to where it clips onto his little thingamabobs on his shirt. What a dapper Jedi. Count Dooku is certainly well dressed for the occasion. Nice solid base coat on this. Good. More. Oh, sorry guys. It's very zoomed in. If you guys zoom it out a little bit, probably be better to keep on camera. Your Danny Trejo signed machete card just shipped? That's funny. What did you think of my Rumpelstiltskin? Any advice? T-Schmidt and I have... you know, I saw them earlier today, Tim. I thought they both looked fantastic. T-Schmidt... Am I allowed to give advice to you guys? I thought this was a challenge between the two of you. You and T-Schmidt should figure out if I'm allowed to give advice. Doesn't seem fair if I give advice to one of you and not the other. I'm gonna reserve my advice for later. I'm happy to give it, but I don't want T-Schmidt to be upset by having you getting advice from me. Seems like a little bit of cheating to me, so I want to be careful there. For both of our sakes. It was worth a shot. Here's what I'll say, Tim. At the end, I would love to go over both of those with you guys and talk about the things that I liked and the things that I would change. If you guys are interested, I would be happy to do that. He isn't here. Sure, it's okay. You say that, Mo. You say that until he's just lurking in chat, waiting for the opportunity to beat up on good old Baby J, okay? We're not gonna let that happen. A fair challenge between the two of these gentlemen. I want to see a fair fight, okay? Not a real fight, obviously. From another source, well, as long as it's not me or Jason, I think that's fine. But I would feel weird about giving you advice on a challenge between the two of you, unless T. Schmidt says it's okay. What I will say is both of you look like you're doing a great job. I was very, very pleased when I saw them and thought that you guys were doing a fantastic job. So, even though I can't give you advice, I can tell you that you guys are doing great. That works for me. Because then I'm the good guy. I like being the good guy. You don't get in trouble. You don't get yelled at. It's great. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to define these shapes of the folds on the cloak where these highlights would go. Get these ridges, get a nice little line going into the shadow there. Again, I'm just blending this back towards the edge. Pushing that pigment up to the ridge. Yeah, Tim, sometimes with those kind of models, you spend a ton of time on the smallest parts. I mean, the flesh is a very large part of that model, which looks really good. The flesh tones that you got going on that model look fantastic. So, doing a great job, like I said. Two hours on the ice. Yeah, I've been there, man. I have been there. And think about how many times I repainted the skin on the Morgan, right? Just as an example. It was a lot. For those of you who were not here, I repainted the skin on the Morgan too many times. But it ended up in a really nice spot, so I can't complain. I'm hitting this with another highlight. Here, I'm not trying to go too crazy with them, because I'm going to come back in with a darker, more saturated brown and redefine some of these shadows here in a little bit. glazes like I did last time. Alright, so we got some nice highlights on the cloak. Get this little bit of a blend. I'm going to push up this highlight towards the top of the cloak. Alright. That is looking pretty good. I'm going to need another bottle of coal black after this. Are you going for the model's traditional color schemes, Baby J? Yes, Mo. For stuff like this, I generally prefer to paint the traditional colors. There's something about it in my brain where I know what these models are supposed to look like, and it kind of like does weird things to my brain when they don't. So I very much prefer to paint them in their traditional colors. Generally. How about we paint a sword while we're waiting for some of this? I imagine you guys probably want to figure out how to paint some sweet lightsabers, huh? I know somebody was asking about it earlier today. So we're gonna do it because I'm feeling like taking a break from this cloak. So with this, we're gonna start with a white base coat. We want to get really nice, smooth coverage on this. No bumps, no patchiness. Just want a nice, solid white blade to work from. Gentleman Paints, how's it going? Afternoon. Add a little bit of texture lines on the inside of this. Couple of stages. One is cloaked to be well loved. See, I'm hitting it with a lot of like stippling down here. Take a little bit of this glaze and wash medium. And I'm just gonna let the wet paint kind of get transparent by mixing it up as I kind of go through. And it'll get this really nice like woolen textured color as I stipple through it with this glaze and wash medium. This inside here bit here you can see has a really wonderful woolen texture color, or woolen texture, excuse me, not a texture color. That doesn't make any sense. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Oop, that's the wrong way. Focus. See that texture that we've got there. We're going to do that on this side as well. We're going to do it to the edge here. Glaze and wash. A little bit of the darker color, brighter color in it. Start with this brighter color on the edge. Color up. Oh, I am off the camera. Sorry, folks. We're gonna inside edge of this. Same thing on this side. Add a little bit of this texture under here. Bring this brightness up on the inside of the cape here. Way to the clasp. Go back to texturing on the inside here. Rathu, there are a decent amount of places where you can order from and at least get shipped, even though there might not be any local stores. There is an EU distributor. It's out of Germany. Yeah, CM we do. Twitch Summerlin, thank you for the gifted sub. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Yeah, it's PK Pro. Jen, thank you. PK Pro is our distributor in Germany. So you can check their website and they should have everything on there for you. Or if not, they can at least order it. Gonna texture some of this deep part of the cape here. Just a little bit. I'm gonna be rough with it just because I don't need to do too much work on it. Twitch someone, you gotta get to whack to work. Of course, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the gifted sub. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully work is not too much for you. Give you a nice relaxing end of the day. And we're gonna hit the inside of this, just like we did on the other side. All right. Got that texture on the inside. Have to work up some of this on the outside. Then with a little bit of glazing medium. And we're gonna work on creating these edge highlights, a little bit of texture towards the bottom. And if this looks too crazy, don't forget, we're probably going to put a glaze over this as well when it's done, just to bring it back down. I don't want the cloak to be too bright. It's also why we're going with a nice transparent mix here, because I want to have not be too bright, have a little bit of that additional value in there. Highlight the shoulders here. Man, I'm having a hard time staying on camera today, chat. I am sorry. Right. That. The reason I'm doing texture on the cloak is so that it has more contrast with the rest of the clothing. The rest of the clothing is pretty smooth, right? So you can see how different the texture over here looks compared to here. Creates a nice little bit of visual interest as you turn the model around. And don't worry, we come back to the lightsaber, just letting it dry. Yeah, you don't want us. Pink you should know by now that my technique book, the book of secrets that I keep, are not so secret and are to be shared on a regular basis with chat and the Discord, as I do very frequently. One of my favorite things to do is to impart my knowledge that I've learned. It's great to see when, you know, somebody who's either newer or is looking to try something new, you know, goes from not knowing anything about the subject to really having a grasp on it. It's really fun to see that progression in people. And then, you know, it's bringing joy to people's lives, which is a thing I am a fan of. So, thank you guys for being such an awesome community. I don't know what I would do without having y'all be so cool on the day-to-day. Definitely makes my job easier by having all you cool people around. So thank you. I know this looks a little splotchy with the highlights over here, but we're getting ready for that glaze layer that'll really bring this back down. Gosu, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are having a wonderful morning. And by morning, I mean afternoon, because it's very clearly afternoon, which I always forget. All right, so we got a little bit of a highlight there. We're gonna have a little bit of a nice broad highlight here. Alright. Liking how that's coming along. So the goal is to have kind of this broadest part of the cloak here, have a nice line of highlight on it, and then have highlights up at the end here. That's the general strat right now. And you can see me, I'm using my finger to kind of brush off some of the paint here. I'm doing that so that I can get some nice kind of textured transitions. It's a way of removing some excess paint that I don't want, or stipple blending it out with my finger, which works really, really well in my experience. Just gently kind of patting at it to blend it out. And then we're going to highlight this shoulder real quick. All right. Liking it, chat. Then what we're going to do, what paint are we grabbing, chat? What paint are we grabbing? Dun, 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 dun. Transparent brown. Eclectic salmon. Gosu. Plaid. You know, one of these days, chat, I am going to paint something plaid for you, and we're going to have a great time. Because y'all are going to love it. Because you're a bunch of goobers. Some glaze and wash medium in here. Get it nice and thin. Alright. And we're just going to glaze over this. You'll see that it's going to do a nice job of blending these darker colors and brighter colors together so they don't look as crazy, which is wonderful. And this is just pure transparent brown with a little bit of transparent, or with a glaze and wash medium and water to thin it down. So on this side. And then once this dries, we'll show you the next step, which is to be adding a little bit more of that transparent brown. Oops. We're actually going to add a little bit of purple to it. That purple transparent. Darken it up. We're going to thin it down, and we're going to throw it in the recesses like this. All right, we're going to let this dry. While we're letting that dry, we're going to paint a lightsaber. For this, we're going to start out with transparent yellow. Actually, we're just going to do golden yellow, I think. Baby J doing witchcraft. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, this dry. Look at how much nicer that looks. Knocks everything back down to be that nice, kind of still textured. You can see that texture underneath it, but the highlights aren't nearly as strong, and they have this really beautiful kind of nutty color to it, kind of like walnut almost. And then paired with the texture on the inside, looks very nice. All right, lightsaber time. Here we go. We're going to thin down some of this yellow. We're going to hit the whole thing. But we're going to be pulling the paint to the top of the lightsaber. And no, Dooku is not going to have a yellow lightsaber, folks. Off cam, it's magic. Completely out of frame. What are you talking? Oh my gosh. Ugh. I'm trying, chat. I really prefer to paint sitting down. The standing is still a little weird for me, for sure. And while that's drying, we're gonna grab out a little bit of orange. Transparent orange this time. If I can find it. Found it. I'm gonna give this a nice good shake. Black Bladder, how's it going? Alright, so this is going to be real thin. We're even going to mix it in with a touch of that yellow. Not very much. A little bit. This time we're going to keep it on frame while we do this. We're going to leave a little bit of that yellow poking through at the bottom. as we push this orange to the tip of the lightsaber. All right, here we go. You know, it doesn't bother my feet anymore. It's not about my feet getting tired. I just really prefer to have the sturdiness of sitting in a chair. Because I have a tendency to like wander. I move my feet a lot. It's not because my feet get tired, it's just because I move around a lot. Tim, Baby J, can you do me a favor? Mix like 2-to-1 transparent red and transparent brown for me and paint it on your thumb. I have an idea, but my paints are home. Yeah, Tim, I can do that. I need to pull the transparent red out anyways. It's around here somewhere. There it is. You said 2-to-1? 1. 1. You kind of get a crimson when you paint with that, Tim. You can mix probably 1-to-1 and you'll get a better... Yeah, so that's 2-to-1. That's closer to 1-to-1. So you might need more brown depending on what you're looking for. But it's a nice crimson color, almost blood red. All right. That orange should definitely be dry. And we're going to thin the heck out of this red. But we are going to mix a touch of yellow into it. Because if you notice, the transparent red on its own is very magenta. It thins down and it's really, really, really cold by comparison to like a warmer reddish tone. And we want this lightsaber to be hot. So we're going to add a little bit of the yellow to it. We're going to add transparent yellow though, because we want that intensity from it. Doesn't take a ton. Find a good mixing palette. Yellow, go. Red, go. More in there. Now we can start thinning it down. All right. And we're going to go in really small steps here. We don't want to overdo this. We're going to build this red up slowly in layers. And you notice that I'm starting all the way from the bottom again. We're going to the top. And you see how it still shows some of that white hot heat down here. We're going to let that layer dry. We're going to get more red and we're going to build up more of that red towards the edge here. I'm going to put a little bit of this yellow down here too. More on the yellow side. Push that down there. And then we're going to get this ready for another layer. All right, here we go. Wiping away a little bit of it from this side here because it went a little bit strong. So this is kind of what we're looking like for the lightsaber to start. Now we're going to do a couple of things here. One of the things that you'll notice when you look at a lot of the Star Wars movies is each of these lightsabers has a core that's very white on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this color all the way through the center, like an edge highlight, from the focal point. So we're going to hit it like right here, and we're going to take it along. And we're going to do the same on the back side. So at each angle that you're looking at the model, you get a nice bit of that edge, front or back, that looks like you've got that white hot core in the middle of the lightsaber. What does that lightsaber make me want tequila sunrises? Because it's sunny down here in Arizona. Surprise, Baby J is a Sith, showing his painting magic. All right. So now we want to use some opaque paints. So we're going to be going back to that golden yellow. And we're going to do a little bit of like crackling energy at the bottom. And a little bit at the tip. And we're going to follow all the way through. And we're going to focus those edges towards the hilt and the tip of the lightsaber. So you can see that line, but it's very faint in the middle, and it's really bright over here, and it's really bright over here. We're going to flip to the back side. This is what it looks like without it. We're going to do that same thing. Remember, this is with gold and yellow. We're going to hit the bottom here. We're going to hit the top. And very light highlight through the center. I'm actually going to push it a little bit more, and then I'm going to glaze back that red back through the center part a little bit. So now we've got that outside. We're going to hit the tip of this in that yellow. And then we're going to grab some more of this red. We're going to thin it down a little bit more. We're going to glaze it back through the middle a little bit. And then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to kind of wipe some of that away. We're going to go in a nice fine line and try and get this line in here. There we go. There's that line. And we're going to do the line on this side too. Let's see if I can do it this way. Like a good angle. We're going to start at the top. All right. Now, we're going to add a little bit of titanium white to our yellow. And we're going to hit tip over here. In the center part of the lightsaber here. That really bright light. We're going to do the same thing on the back side. This is how you get your really, really bright, hot lightsabers. That's pretty much done. And if you want it to be a little bit more red, you can go through and glaze over it again. So if I wanted to make it a little bit more red, take some more of this transparent. And it down a bunch. Knock it down a little bit closer to the hilt. There you go. We've got one nice Sith lightsaber complete. Now, you can go back up and clean the handle of the lightsaber. I gotta get really close for this. Hope this helped for all of your lightsaber painting needs. You think you missed a bit in the middle? If you actually have questions, I can re-explain what I did if you want. Narfnet? Now make a method. You know what? I might. I just might. Or maybe we'll make a little how-to video now that the oh so topical Shatterpoint is out. Ooh, yeah, let me get some of this this purple glaze on this cloak again. So we're gonna grab this transparent brown and transparent purple mix that we have thinned down over here. And we're gonna bring it right into these shadow areas. This. Alright. That cloak is done. Alright. Maybe paint his belt real quick. Should be pretty easy to do. Got some colors for it already on the palette. Got a nice tan belt. Adds a nice little spot of color to his outfit, which is really cool. And this is going to be a mix of that golden brown, dark golden brown, and light umber that we were using earlier for the inside of the cape. Practice is key, Narfet. It's very important to get a nice, as much practice as you can in. Practice definitely makes perfect. As cliche as that might sound. About 2/3 Knights base coated. What are you working on, Xenophobic? Xenofanatic? Yeah. 9/10 of coal black gone. What the heck? What are you painting? Take some more of this dark golden brown to mix in. We're gonna... Oh, Chaos Knights? Nice. We're gonna hit the back side of this belt with this shadow color. And we're gonna get a really bad angle in here really fast while I paint the back side of it. Also noticing that there's the underside of the cape that I should probably paint. Here. Color will work as a nice undercoat for it, or shadow color rather. Not have to worry about it too much. That worked out. And then for the belt, I think we're gonna do something simple. We're just gonna throw a black, brown wash on it. I should have right here. This is right out of the bottle as well. Throwing it on there. Getting a nice build up so we get good definition to all these little cords on his belt. Then I'm going to come back and edge highlight that with our base color in just a minute, once it's dry. The ever-looming question, do I buy the coal black plus Miniats direct? Or do I just go pick up coal black local? Well, it depends on how bad you need it. If you need it real fast, then I would go local. If you don't mind waiting, then you can definitely order it direct. That's just a pure question of speed of required paint. We're going to go back to paint these boots here real quick. Now that I've gotten most of the rest of the stuff done. Remember, these boots are going to be pretty shiny. We're using a little bit of blue here for the reflection. I like using a little bit more saturated colors when doing reflective pieces of clothing. I think it looks really nice. It adds a little bit of separation from like this jacket that we're painting, right? And edge of that boot there. I'm going to hit the side of the boot here as well. Right. This may look like a lot right now, but we're going to tone this down after we do that final sharp highlight. So never fear. We're actually going to do, I want to do an inner highlight, which is a reflection of the ground. I'm going to put a little bit of earthy colors into that. Mix it in a little bit with the blue. We're going to get kind of like a weird green color. Put that in here. But this is meant to be like a more natural reflection. From the ground and the environment. So it's really important to think about your environment when you're painting this kind of stuff. Your environment is definitely going to add a lot of color to what you're painting. Because I could, if I were doing really reflective stuff, just paint this reflection right here to be red because of the lightsaber reflection. Because if it's really reflective, it would pick up on that even from that far away. And I could do OSL on, you know, this hand, this arm, and the cloak. But I really like how clean it looks like this. Right? A little bit more simplistic. Paint these pants here in a second. I'll finish painting these boots first. A little bit of titanium white to this mix. Get our next highlight stage, and we want to leave a good chunk of that previous color kind of get those edges, folds in the boots. That on the other boot as well on the outside. Here, towards the ankle, bit there, heel, front part, the boot. And we're going to keep adding progressively more titanium white until we get to the point where we're doing our final highlights. I think it'll be this stage and then probably one more final highlight stage. Zoomed in. So we're going to go boom, edge highlight there. And you can see how it's really starting to pull that reflection, right? We're getting that big value jump that Jason always talks about when working on metallics. Same thing is true when you're working on reflective, like shined leather, or almost like a plasticky polyester boot or something. I don't know, polyester shines like this. Something. Some kind of material that's nice and shiny. So now we got that shiny reflection on the boot. Pleather. There you go. Xenophonetic. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We're gonna hit this highlight on the other boot too. In boot number 2. Just gonna hit those highlight areas. And it's amazing. You'll notice before it looked really bright all the way across the boot, but now as we're adding this really bright highlight, it kind of makes the rest of those dark areas really stand out. So like this boot still looks black. Before it looked kind of gray. But now that that white is being added, you really get that sense of super bright reflection. And now it looks more like a black boot. Reaper Miniatures, thank you for the raid. How are you guys doing today? Hope you had a great stream. We are just on here painting Count Dooku from the new Star Wars Shatterpoint game from Atomic Mass. Just painting some shiny boots right now. Man takes good care of his clothing, and his boots are all nice and shiny. So we are painting those up. The funny thing is we're about to darken them back up too. But welcome everybody. Hope you had a good stream. We are certainly having fun over here. Gotta paint an inside reflection on this boot because it looks weird without it. Zachariah, welcome. Take a little bit of a drink. We're making pretty good progress. Chat, we started this project today. We primed him today. So that took a little bit of time out. And we're basically got his pants, his lightsaber hilt, and the little things here, and then his face and hands. And the inner boot reflections and the base. That's basically it. I think we can finish a good chunk of that before the end of the day. It's gonna go a little long today because I'm really feeling this model right now. Yeah, I'm stoked. Let's do it. So this inner reflection, we're going to add this white to that color that we put in that kind of greenish color. We're going to add it in right here. And we're going to do the same kind of reflection just on the inside of the boot. We're going to do the same thing on the inside back part here. We are going to hit this with a black glaze, so this is going to tone a lot of this back down. But having this in a reflection here really helps at least have something interesting to look at down there. Grab some of that black transparent. We're going to thin the crap out of it. And we're going to push it up towards where all the shadows are going to be. We're going to flood it a little bit on this backside because I want this to darken up quite a bit. But we're going to go back in with the damp brush, and we're going to wipe away a lot of this transparent. Should dry a lot darker, which is nice. Same thing here. We're going to basically go over this brighter color that we just put in there in the shadow. We're going to go from the back here. Alright. I think that's probably good on the boots. To darken them back up. Oh, we gotta hit the backside here. Alright. Those are the boots. Now, we're going to hit the edge highlights on the belt real quick. A little bit of this golden brown, dark golden brown umber mix that we had. With a little bit extra golden brown, so we get nice edge highlights on it. So everybody from Reaper, I hope you guys had a good stream if you're still around. You guys paint anything fun over there? Wonder if you guys were working on any Shatterpoint. Seems like a really popular thing right now since the game just came out. I was just very excited because I like painting Star Wars miniatures. Just use the edge of our brush here to hit these little raised bits on the belt. We're gonna do one more stage of highlight on here with just pure gold and brown. Jen, thank you to the link for the store. Don't forget, everybody, that you can always pick up all of the paints that we're using here today on stream at our Monument Hobbies store that Jen just so helpfully linked down there. Any of the transparent paints that we've used or any of the traditional Pro Acryl paints are all going to be available on our store. Or at your friendly local game store if you have one nearby. Awesome. So that belt's looking great. And I think we're probably at a good stopping point for today, chat. Still got some stuff to take care of before the end of the day. Jason will be back on Wednesday, hopefully. So we got one more stream where we're going to finish this guy up and we're going to start something new. It's going to be another Shatterpoint model. I'm not sure which one we're going to do yet, but I will figure that out. If you guys have any preferences, let me know in the Discord. And we are going to... Yeah, tomorrow we're going to paint the hands, the face, the hair, these little metal bits here, these little metal bits here, and his pants, and the base. You're moving on Wednesday. Jason will probably be back on Thursday. Okay, so we're looking at 2 more days. And then Jason will be back on Thursday. Thank you, Jen. All right, everyone. Don't forget to stay around for the raid. A couple things before we go. We are Monument Hobbies. We talked about you guys can get all of our paints at our store, which Jen is linked below. We have a super awesome Discord, which you guys can always go to thank you, Jen, to check out all the cool things that all of our community is working on. You can share pictures of all the cool stuff that you're working on. It's a great place with a ton of really active members, fantastic painters to hang out. There's a link down there for your local game stores. So if you want to find a local store near you that might carry our product, or that will carry our product rather, you can go to the store finder and find one near you. Don't forget, we stream 5 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like today, we stream from 12 to 2, or in this case, 2:30 or 2:23 or whatever. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go from 2 to 5. So it's a little bit longer stream. Remember, these times are all Pacific, so those do not change from depending on the time of year. Don't forget to stay for the raid. We're going to go find somebody to hang out with. And hope you guys have a wonderful stream. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you later. Gotta turn it off over here. Yeah.
It's pretty easy to guess that this is their newest license to print money. This is like Combat Patrol is going to do for them what Kill Team did. If they want to release Combat Patrol boxes and new ones, old one, you know, hey, we could package up the Gellerpox models into their own Combat Patrol. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, except every time you shoot a fish, you get $1. And the gun has endless bullets. So, yeah, as a secret side labor, I have a video of my Patreon documenting the process, kind of a progress vlog, and there's a special double celebrity appearance at the end. Hut Armories, hello. Thank you, Giggling Geekette. Hey, looks great. Gives me sort of Aliens vibes. Thanks, man. Yeah, hey, hey everyone from Monument Hobbies. Baby J, what's up, man? I was watching you work on a Star Wars model. Thanks for the raid. Yeah, I was just showing people I got my Tyranid side of Leviathan painted up, and now the next stage in this journey is to see if I can beat the Uncle Adam in a game of Combat Patrol. Yeah, I went simple on these models, but you know, something effective like this model here, this Psychophage. Not much to write home about, but it's effective. It works for a bug. You know, I really lead into the opportunity to make things monochromatic, but it's a weird stack of colors. The base coat is like that weird, I mixed like dark Prussian blue, black, and magenta together. Then I airbrushed emerald green over that, very diluted, then like a frosty blue. Then a wash, re-highlight, that's kind of it. These look great. Thanks, dude. So yeah, they're like a weird recipe. But yeah, I recorded like a hobby progress vlog on it. I took 3 of the models aside for another video that'll come out on the special effects, like the little sacks and the Barb Gaunt's guns, the internally glowing brain, and the smoke coming out of the Psychophage's back. I'll have a video on all 3 of those techniques. I think I'm going to do a rundown on the recipe as a whole, and I'm also off to the side, I have the unit of Terminators prepped up. And I'm going to make a video on those. Paint up some Imperial Fists. Yeah, Mo, it goes well, man. I'm very fired up, hobbying in every direction. It's like there's hot hobby lightning flying from every finger. Nivik, hey buddy. Thank you so much for sending that Snickrod out when the time comes, man. It's nice chatting with you